Hey y'all, Shonda here, and welcome to the Healing Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Ancestral Medium and Movement Healer, Shonda Domingo Brown. And in this podcast, I'm bringing you everything when it comes to motherhood, entrepreneurship, and just how to navigate being on a healing journey in your day to day life. You'll be getting meditations, you'll be getting full episodes with myself and with guests. And today, I'm excited because I'm going to be sharing with you guys something that I like to call divine downloads. So, when I'm on my healing journey and I'm still on it, there's these moments, these aha moments, these epiphany moments where spirit or my ancestors or my spirit guides, they make things very clear to me. They explain to me why I might be going through what I'm going through, what the lesson may be when it comes to what I'm experiencing, a situation that I'm growing through, healing through, trying to learn through. That really helps me move and shift out of victim mode into understanding and really elevates me from the inside out, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, the whole thing. And so I've been just in full transparency, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I've been in a situation, I have a physical studio here in New Orleans, and I was just at a place where I was getting behind on the studio rent, and I was like, I don't know if it serves me to keep this studio space, but also it's such a great space where I've been able to foster creativity and community. I'm growing. I felt divinely led and guided to open this space. Everything was easy. I've been able to manifest some wonderful things in this space. And I was just like, Spirit, why would you take it from me? Like, why wouldn't it go smooth? Like, why is this happening? And then I crunch the numbers, and I know it's faith plus works. I know that yes, you have to know your spiritual know-how, but you also need to know your earthly know-how. You still got to know your numbers. You still got to have a budget. And so when I crunched all of the numbers, and I just was like, I think it's really in my best interest to have to release the studio. I think I'm gonna have to let it go and continue my business online, continue my business um, as I go to some of my clients here in the city, or I just rent out space from different studios depending on what service it is I'm providing. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to do this. And it wasn't an easy decision. I had moments where I just sat in the car crying. I had moments where I was just journaling. I had moments where I could feel where in my body and what was being triggered, and I would lay with my crystals, and I would drink my herbs and do all the things, and that has been helping me stay out of victim mode. That has really been helping me not go like, oh my god, woe is me. And it's helped me really go through this process and go, what is the lesson here? What is the lesson here? Because even in more transparency, y'all, 8 years ago I was in a very similar situation, but it wasn't the exact same circumstance. I was in a situation where my mom had just passed, and I was running out of money. And so I was trying to sell the house that she left to me, and I had moved into an apartment, and I was about to get evicted out of that apartment. And so the emotions really just, it felt the same. And one thing I've learned about when you're on a spiritual journey, if you don't get the lesson, you're going to repeat that exercise. You're going to repeat that test. And so as I slowed down and what I'm sitting in now, I was like, yo, this is the same thing. Like, I'm feeling the same thing. And I was like, okay, spirit, bet. Let me get these lessons. Let me get this wisdom so I don't have to repeat this. And so the first thing spirit said was, I want you to draw a line, write down everything that happened when you went through it the last time, and I want you to write down everything that's happening this time. And so it helped me really see the parallels and how, again, the circumstances might be different. Like, I'm not getting evicted out of my apartment. Thank God I still have my home that I live in. but there's an eviction, there's a push, there's a ask to leave, happening. And Spirit said, well, what did you do last time? And I was like, well, I asked for help last time because I used to be very prideful and I didn't want, as a perfectionist and a people pleaser, you don't want people thinking that you made a mistake. You don't want people thinking that, in your mind, you're saying, well, you failed, and so asking for help to me in those moments meant having to admit to failure, having to admit to not having it all figured out. It meant having to admit to not being perfect. And at that time, that was something that I didn't want. And I also wasn't aware enough to understand that that is what was being triggered and manifesting subconsciously. But I did ask for help back then. But this time, I asked for help because I have a better understanding of community. I have a better understanding of vulnerability. And I just felt safer to ask for help, which also shows that growth. If you go back and listen to that episode I did with Dr. Stephanie Burns on community, I knew and I trusted and I felt safe with the people that I call community in my tribe at this point in my life. And so I asked for help. I raised enough money to catch up on the studio rent, but I also then I had this question that said, okay, well, I catch up on his rent, and then what, Spirit? Like, and then what? And Spirit said, well, I need you to look at, is it still serving you? It's not that I led you to open it and then I wanted to take it away. You still became creative. You still connected back to yourself. You still stepped up when it came to your own self empowerment, your own confidence. That space did what it needed to do for you. And so now I need you to move. Now I need you to evolve. I need you to go over here. You're asking me for all of these things. Have you not slowed down enough to realize that you might need to let some things go? And I was like, oh, touche. And so I'm sharing that with y'all to say, when you're going through those things and when you're asking Spirit to do a big thing in you, there will be a big shift. And I am releasing the studio, but it's going to be in such a beautiful way. And I feel so divinely protected and guided because this time around, I knew to stay in gratitude. This time around, I knew to be grateful for my help. I know to show appreciation for the help. This time around, I knew not to lean into low vibrational behaviors like binging on TV shows or trying to numb myself with alcohol or with, at that time, when I was about to lose my apartment, it was cookies. I was at Walmart every day buying them sugar cookies with that icing on it for $2.98. You understand me? And I was a personal trainer. Like that, I didn't realize what I was experiencing was like this addiction and this depression that was happening. And so now, as I've been going on my healing journey, I know what those behaviors are, and I've healed a good bit of being able to really be proactive in what I need when I'm going through a test or an exercise or a healing. And I call them tests and exercises. And, for other people, it's like, oh my God, what is life? And it's really to birth something out of us. It's to heal something down on the inside of us so that we can be stronger. And if we don't get them lessons, we going to keep experiencing that thing. And so now I'm like, I'm not going through this again, Spirit. What's the lesson? And so in that moment, I was sitting in the car and my whole day, y'all, I cannot make this up. Like once I decided that I was going to release the space and Spirit was like, you are the space. You don't need to be attached to something physical. That you're using that space to make you feel like you have value. You're using that space to make you feel like you're legit. You are the gift. You are the service. And so once I really got that download, I was like, yo, okay. I don't even really know what's about to be on the other side of this, but like, let's go. And everything, when you make that decision, I'm telling y'all, Spirit, your ancestors, your spirit guides, God will send you all the confirmation when you choose to believe in yourself, when you choose to believe in what your spirit is telling you, and when you don't need 12 other people to validate what you feel is right for you, God will send you the confirmation. God will send you the shift, the move, and whatever you need to move how you need to move. Y'all, like the rest of that day couldn't have gone like smoother in confirmation. I had clients um, just sending me phrases like "you are the space," and you get to spread your wings now. It was literally like everything that Spirit had told me in my own personal moments of meditation and contemplation. It was coming back to me as confirmation. I didn't go seek it. I didn't ask for it. It really was just coming to me. I was leaving Walmart and took a different way that I don't never take, and ran into the pastor that married me and my husband, and ran into him, and he gave me confirmation without even having to be prompted. I ran into a woman later that next day when I took class. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just shoot my shot. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for space to host classes. And she was like, bet, consider it done. Send me the dates. Like, y'all, when you decide, shout out to Ashlina Kaposta, which is one of my mentors, who was like, you just got to decide, and then it's all going to flow the way it needs to. But I really felt that and experienced it for myself. And that's why I'm like, yo, when you decide, when you decide to believe in yourself, when you decide to trust in yourself, when you decide to stand 10 toes down in what you feel in your spirit, you everything will line up for you. Everything will line up for you. And so, what I want to do next is really share with y'all the word for word download that I received when I was sitting in my car. I had just finished praying and crying and journaling and, getting a day and a half of confirmations, and really just was trying to understand why I was going through it again. And I really wanted to make sure I was getting the lessons. And I also wanted to make sure I wasn't going backwards. Because I was like, I don't want to go back and do the stuff that I was doing before I had this studio. I don't want to go back to personal training. I want to continue to do my spiritual work. I want to continue to teach my clients movement and meditation and connecting them to their higher selves and their confidence and their empowerment. I want to continue making herbs and teas and baths and tinctures for my clients who need this healing. I'm not going back, Spirit. So what we doing? And so I want to share with y'all word for word what came up for me in that moment. So I'm just going to take a deep breath before I share. And I just hope that this resonates with you. I hope that it speaks to your spirit. And I hope that it reaches you in the way that it needs to, and that you come back to it whenever you need to. So, Spirit said, even when you're speaking positively over your life, even when you're changing your mindset, and even when you're asking Spirit to show up for you, and you are asking Spirit to shift things for you, and you are asking Spirit for something new, the gratitude is important so that your vibration stays in alignment with what you are asking for. The gratitude is also important so that you can stay in alignment, because the shift never comes the way you think it will. Your shift never comes the way you think it will. The shift might not come as this small, loving nudge into your next step. A shift might actually rip you from the place where you feel comfortable. A shift might actually pull you out of what you thought the rest of your life would look like, the rest of what you thought your highest good was. A shift to your divine assignment, a shift to your soul's purpose, a shift to your highest vibration may look like chaos, it may look like confusion, uncertainty, failure, doubt, fear, scarcity, lack, shame, embarrassment, anger, resentment, regret, bitterness, all of that. And all of that still has lessons. Feeling, going, and experiencing all of those things will give you the wisdom that you need to get to your next chapter, your next level, your new level. It still has wisdom. So when you're sitting in what feels like chaos, when you're sitting in what feels like uncertainty, remember what you asked for. Remember what you put on that vision board. Remember what you spoke into existence. Remember what you said into that candle that you lit. Remember what you asked for. Remember that you asked to see a change and a big move in your life. So if you are asking for big things, expect your shift to be a big thing. If you're asking for a big shift, expect a big shift. The energy of what you're asking for and your shift needs to match the energy. So if you don't want to have to grow through something, if you don't want to have to experience a lesson that you think is pain, but it's really just an exercise, it's just a test to allow you to dig deeper, to tap into your inner strength, to tap into your vulnerability, to tap into your authenticity and your personal power. If you don't want to go deep, if you don't want to tap into that, then don't ask for a big shift. Ask for a walk down the street, and that's what your change will feel like. But if you want something life changing, and if you want something transformational, and when you want something evolutionary, understand that the journey to that point and the exercises and the lessons will be just as rich and just as substantial, just as important as what you're asking for. It's stretching your capacity. It's pulling out more true, raw, authentic parts of you that's needed for your purpose and that's needed for your ascension. So if you're not feeling like you're losing, if you're not experiencing this shift, if you're not being asked to move, then what are we doing? This is what a real shift looks like. This isn't the cookie cutter stuff that they're selling you on social media. This is what a real shift and transformation into authenticity and into ascension into a higher vibration really, really, really looks like. You have not failed, but you must let go. You have not failed, but you must surrender. You have not failed, but you must flow. You're not supposed to know what's next because you didn't even think you would get this far. You're not going to know what's next because you never imagined what you're sitting in right now. And that's okay. That's why surrender and flow and gratitude and trust within yourself, within your journey, within your ancestors, within spirit, and within God is non negotiable during your ascension, your evolution, and your transformation. That's why reprogramming your mind is so important. That's why understanding and feeling within your body is so important. So when you go through your next evolution, because this isn't your last one, this isn't your last ascension. You won't have the fear and the doubt and the scarcity and lack mindset. You will have the knowing that it's going the way it needs to go, that it's getting you to another level and into something deeper. And you'll know exactly what to do when it happens. You'll know how to take care of yourself. You'll know how to serve yourself. You'll know how to surrender and you'll know how to trust. You'll know to go deep. You'll know to be still. You'll know to listen within. And you'll have all those tools because you won't be operating out of fear and lack. You'll be operating out of knowing and trust. So even when you get on the other side of this moment, on the other side of this test, on the other side of this lesson, know what you know, what you know, what you know. Remember what you know. Remember this moment. And remember that there's always another side out of this moment, out of this lesson, out of this test, out of this exercise, out of this situation. This is temporary, but you got to get the lessons and the wisdom and the transformation. So then, yes, you won't have to experience it again. And if it does come, it's going to come and go super easy when you get the lesson because you'll already know how to handle it. You'll already be trusting. You'll already be flowing. It won't even feel like the end of the world. You'll be like, that's cute. I already know how this goes. And so that's the download that I got when I was sitting in the car and I had got in touch with so many classmates from classes that I'm taking and just from colleagues and friends. And it seems like everyone is going through their own transformation, feeling their own heaviness, trying to get outside and on the other side of their own thing. And I was sharing this download with them, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is what I needed. Oh my God, this was the confirmation." And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start sharing these downloads. I'm gonna call them divine downloads, and I'm just gonna start sharing them because there might be other people out there that need to hear it, and that need their own confirmation. And so I hope this resonates with you. I hope it brings you confirmation. I hope it eases your anxiety. I hope it allows for you to exhale for a second. And I hope it allows for you to go to your toolkit, go to your journal, go sit to the water, go clear out the furniture in the living room and put your favorite song on and dance. That's when I really got at peace with my decision. I went to the studio and I just danced. I danced, I danced, I danced, I danced. And I had never felt so clear, so clear. I had already journaled. I had already laid with my crystals to keep me grounded and to keep me in sound mind. And once I danced, it was like boom. And it wasn't like a hit. I just felt at peace with the decision. I felt at peace with moving forward. I felt at peace with releasing everything. So even when they offered to lower the rent, even when they offered to, everybody was like, well, maybe find someone who could co-rent. I just knew it wasn't it. I wasn't even like, yeah, well, maybe. I was like, nah, nah. I know exactly what this needs to be. And I paid attention to how my body responded to it. And y'all, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. As soon as I was like, bet, this is what I'm gonna do, my whole body said, ah. And I didn't even realize how much I was holding on just by making sure I was on top of taking care of the space, keeping it cleansed, keeping it clean, keeping the bills paid, making sure it had what it needed. I didn't realize how much space I was holding for it and the rest of my life. And once I made that decision, like I've been sleeping better. My body has been functioning easy. Like my body is literally releasing so much. I had no idea. And so it's always a blessing. It's always working out for your highest good. And I hope that you remember that no matter what it looks like, no matter what you're sitting in, it's working out for your highest good. Journal, write your way out of it, meditate, get your clarity, and go within so that you can really, really trust and get that peace and find your answer that's for you. Nobody else needs to tell you how to live your life. Nobody else needs to tell you what to do. You know what to do. You know the answer. All right. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay connected. If you are interested in an ancestral reading, an ancestral wellness reading, if you are interested in movement meditation sessions, I do them in person and I do them virtually. Stay connected through the YouTube channel. I'll put everything in the show notes. You can find me on my website. The YouTube channel has this podcast. It also has full movement videos, guided audio meditations, and all the things. So stay connected. I love y'all, and I'll see you next time. Keep going, keep growing, keep healing.